Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, host Imperial Dane, Master of Propaganda, Hero Psych, Defender of the Fatherland. Off here to an exciting 1 vs 1 on Semoisky Winter. Putting this off, we got Insane Climax, aka also known as Spanky, finding here for America, Freedom, Democracy. The 2nd Armored Division versus the North, we got Hoi Jimmy, finding here for the Oberkommand West, Germany, Deutschland, the 1 and 10th Panzer Brigade here with fortifications, special operations, Luftwaffe, Triple Infantry versus mechanized armor and recon support with double sort of weapon bullets and 1 infantry bullets. In this case, weapon racks being cheaper and for increased range of the bazookas. Jimmy here going very aggressively for the southern fuel point, interesting enough there, with a double Volksgrenadier start. This jump on is sort of leading the way, the Volksgrenadier following up. No Kultwagens here. Also looks like, efforts towards here. So both players will basically be sort of honing in on the southern fuel point here. Meaning the west side is going to basically come to decide to rush that one as well. Love to see the Climax here decides you can actually switch towards here instead of just putting everything down here. In particular, since it's focusing towards the centre victory points. Right here, it kind of feels like he's putting all of his eggs in one particularly small basket. And the Americans also want to put their eggs into that basket as well. So, Riflemen punching up, Shermans is trying to ward off the entry, in this case being forced back pretty rapidly. Going to need infantry support here. Volksgrenadier grabbing the victory point here. And looks like Climax was there trying it for the northern field from the 3rd Rifle one way for him. Sturmpioniere sort of sneaking in and out. They're trying to bait the Riflemen grabbing here, but Climax clearly know what's going on and what trick Jimmy is trying to play, and it's going to try avoiding that. We got full sneaking up behind the Riflemen here. Oh, going to try and rush it for the house, but the problem is, at the same time, the way the position here, the Riflemen are just going to pop up right in front of one side, though there's still going to be some clutch, I think, sort of popping his head out a bit too far, getting shots from maybe the broadside, but nope. Ends up retreating nonetheless there. Interesting. Small victory there for Jimmy. Can't grab the southern fuel point, but he's managed to prevent him from going for the northern fuel point, I suppose. We got a 3rd floor squad out. I'm going to move westwards. Going to probably hit for that fuel point there, and we just got continued standoff here by the southern fuel. Now the players are really getting to it. Sandbags on the calf point. Almost got the other point here by the church. We got Riflemen in, quickly falling back. Continued standoff there. Climax isn't buying into it one bit. Goddamn Crouch, we know you're behind that house. Stop doing that. You're annoying us. We can see now Climax just going to sneak up behind here, flank the house, and basically sort of put an end to this here. So ultimately, Jimmy's probably going to want to hit it for the northern fuel point more aggressively, set more support down here rather than committing too much to the centre, and essentially not a lot of men to secure fuel. But there you go, Span going for it. Climax, he still needs to grab the car point for the fuel point, but at least having the fuel point in the first place is going to help him out a bunch. 4th force squad out here for Jimmy. We got a 3rd round squad out there for Climax. Both players so far committing to an awful lot of infantry. Jimmy's got a few doctrines sort of benefit from all the infantry here. Some more than others. But there you go, fuel point secure. We can secure the car point. Car point here secure. Need it on the fuel point. And grab it for the Fatherland. Also might want to consider laying down some mines. Mortar on the way there for Climax and the 2nd Armoured. That's the 1 and 10th Panzer Brigade, one of the later series Panzer Brigades. Moves about here in securing territory. Up north here we got the Volksgrenadiers versus the Echelons, M1 Carbines versus Carnot TKs. And that's going to be a very one-sided engagement. They're caught out in the open. Plus the Volksgrenadiers heavy cover. Didn't help the Echelons were already a bit low in health. And there you go. Got the mortar setting up here-ish. The M1 81mm mortar. Volksgrenadier versus Riflemen. Popping out here with Sturmpioneer support, going to charge into the Riflemen, I suppose. Though the Sturmpioneers are so low health, you could actually focus them down and push them away. There we go, got the single rifle squad moving in, though the house is a bit on fire. There's certainly some risk here that Climax's men will suffer from the incendiary grenade, and, well, only a bit. There really seems like most of the fires sort of worn off. They could, of course, pop another grenade, but decides just to pull back into the house for safety. Continue firing around the car bomb. We got mortar firing down. Jorgen gets splattered out. The rest of the men do not look too good. Sandbags about here. And a battle group headquarters going out there for Jimmy and the 1 and 10th Panzer Brigade. Nothing there, I think. Oh, there we go. We got the lieutenant on the way there for Climax. Could certainly indicate here recon support. A very common choice in conjunction with the lieutenant. And you could just follow up with anti-tank against the likes of some elite infantry and an armoured vehicle there from recon support. Of course, you could try and think long term and go for mechanized. Mortar offsets could be used then, of course, the Shermans. So we'll see here what Climax goes up for versus Jamie. Jamie's certainly also got some opportunities here versus his opponent. Riflemen versus Volksgrenadiers here. Northern munitions almost secured. This is not really looking like an amazing engagement. Looks like here with he's actually going to bombard the house there rather than support around here. Folks are moving ahead with support from the house, but not really a lot. There's only the guy on the top floor. They can actually fire. The rest of the house here can't fire due to the fence. But there you go. He doesn't. Let's push him away. But will he push forwards? There we go. He does. We got a Kedmef out here. For Jimmy, in this case, it might just be a preemptive move. He's worried about some kind of vehicle from Climax. Could be, you know, half tracks, greyhounds. Well, not greyhounds, but M20s. And there you go. Mortar runs flying through the air like they don't quite care. Healing reinforcement going on there for Climax back in his space. Ambulance is hard at work, handing out those sweet, sweet drugs and medical support. Folks are shifting about. They're going to grab the point. Healing reinforcement going on there back in Jimmy's space. Holland 10th Panzer Brigade prepares for the next push. Ah, you missed us, you stupid Americans. You don't know where we are. God damn it, Fritz. You just had to invite fate and send a lot of angry Americans towards us, didn't you? Quickly falling back towards the house with 2 rifle squads in the mortar. The Volksgrenadiers are not going to last long, in particular not in that condition. And most can maybe get a single rifle kill, but the problem is you risk losing a lot more Volksgrenadiers a lot faster than he actually gains anything. This is just a bad engagement for Jimmy. Honestly, he's just retreating. He's in fact just wasted 3 Volksgrenadiers and almost lost the 4th one, in which case that would have been a full squad wipe. But even though I'd say the 3 casualties were just not worth it because he did absolutely no damage. He didn't stall Climax in any way. That was just, and I think roughly, oh, I don't know, close to 100 manpower just wasted there when he could have just retreated, healed them up and sent them out again. So that was a waste there, to be honest. Lieutenant going here for the munitions point up north, sending him out here, full sneak up behind him, the car point again, just in case. Sneaking up behind the rear echelons. So he might actually want to, because they're just going straight for the mortar instead of dealing with the rear echelons. I mean, the mortar is honestly a bigger threat to him than the rear echelons with their carbines. Got the Sturm Pioneer clinging on the Rifleman. That will be a swift engagement there for Jamie, and we can see Climax forced to pull back there with his Rifleman to go in the centre, though. You need to be careful about bunching up his men that close when there's a mortar about. Flak half track on the way there for Jimmy. The Panzer Brigade generally actually had several flak half tracks actually attached to them. Part of the Sturm units, I believe they're part there. Though they would have been equipped with flak drillings usually rather than this, you know, just regular 2cm flak. Which I found fact the flak drilling was sort of a later war anti-aircraft gun for sort of vehicles and other elements, basically using spare aircraft machine guns since they were being replaced with 30mm. They had a lot of spare 15 and 20mm aircraft machine guns that were made into the flak drilling. They mounted them on trucks, which I believe they actually used in Normandy. They mounted them on flak half tracks, which will use late 1944. There was even some bands that mounted, like, you know, captured tanks, like there's a T-34 somewhere that they actually converted into a flak panzer with a flak drilling on top. Fun fact. Rather than being suppressed here by the flak half track, 50 cal there, not quite able to stop that. And we got recon support here. He does end up going for recon support. It could have gone for mechanized, as opposed to that's a bit more long-term prospect. I suppose Climax here didn't think that was very likely, so he opts for the faster recon support. 2nd Armoured Division opting for some cavalry and some paratroopers. And we got medics on the way there for Jimmy. Troops moving back for reinforcement. No assault rifles yet for enemies. Volksguns. Granted, he doesn't have the munitions for it. A lot of munitions going to grenades. Climax remains in a weak spot in terms of map control. They're certainly doing his best. In part because he just keeps attacking Jamie head on where he's strongest, which, you know, means he's less likely to make any progress. And we actually got here Iron R Pathfinders as well. Probably wants to use the artillery strikes sort of quickly now, maybe get a wipe here and at least force him to be a lot more careful. And there you go, flak half track opening up once more. 2cm flak, a potent weapon. Goddamn Krauts! Who said they had such big guns? Well, they're not asking us for permission, Carl, so shut up. But I'm going off against a 50 caliber. Good work there by Jimmy. They need to retreat the Volksgrenadiers before the 50 caliber makes mincemeat out of them. Skirmishing up north, we got rifle support aviation going against the full screen. We got fuel point in the north secured. The lieutenant, good work there by Climax. And the second armored aviation outmaneuvering Jamie there again, starting to begin not just saying head on to a stronger, but also looking for easier pass with less resistance where you can actually make some damage and gain some ground. Jimmy following up here with a light infantry gun. Still no sign of a doctrine from him. And the lieutenant here holding by the flag after the assault is not pretty. A very brutal mix-up. In the south, you got skirmishing between the Riflemen and the Volksgrenadiers. Victory points wise, though, Jimmy's also having a fat lead over Climax at the moment. So certainly things looking a bit rough here for Climax. Things are looking rough. Climax is far from out of the fight. I mean, it's not exactly suffered any wipes, so I mean, he's not too poorly off. You could actually call in a full airdrop combat group now, get a paratrooper squad, get an anti-tank gun. That would actually be pretty useful for him. Even saying that, Browning light machine guns that allow him to lay up some heavy firepower versus Jimmy troops, plus the anti-tank gun could be useful as the flak half-track. So I mean, right now an airdrop combat group I think could be a really strong choice here for Climax. Of course, he might just be saying up for the Greyhound. So we'll see. So we shall see. But again, I do think airdrop combat group here would be really good. We got Riflemen sneaking back. Got to try and hit the fuel point. They're losing the northern fuel point here. The German infantry got to fight for the carve point. Good work again instead of just constantly fighting around here. You can also just hit the much more, not defended at all point and hit that instead. Cutting off Jimmy's resources that way. Also got an anti side called in here by the Pathfinders. Looks like he got some damage in with it, but not a full wipe. Could still go for the airdrop combat group, though it does diminish the plans of immediately equipping them with the brown light machine guns. Hang on, cat wants to get in. Cat break, kitty cat break, fluffy cat break. Yes, there we go. Break over. That house has certainly seen a lot of damage. He's not looking very structurally safe at the moment anymore. Got Pathfinders with 3 kills in there. He does go for the airdrop combat group direct mortar hit on the flak half track. In the south, we've got a bit of skirmishing between Fulton's Riflemen. That's definitely a win for the Riflemen. The Fultons stand no chance that they're going to get wiped out if he doesn't want to treat them very, very soon. And the paratroopers are landing rather close to the front line there. Rather close. A tree that has actually in times past claimed many a paratrooper. This tree. Rifleman push back, we got Fulton's advancing with the short rifles in hand. He's going to need to get the paratroopers up there, though he can't quite equip them with the light machine guns right away. Again, that's basically the cost of the airdrop calling, of the artillery barracks they called in. It rather makes it harder for him to equip the paratroopers right away. Take them as well though. Let's get those paratroopers moving. Climax, get these guys going. And he lost, I think, the 50 caliber. Nope. Mortar got wiped. Very unfortunate loss there for Climax for the second armament. Pathfinder's just hiding about here. We got the flak half attack moving in. Immediately opening up there and starting to suppress, but not landing a lot of particularly good hits so far. That's amazing move with this strength to 50 cover. He had not smoked. He might in fact even lose the MD there. And gets away with a tiny slow of health. Lines got out on the ice. That's begging, I think, for trouble as well. Could easily be sunk here by Climax. Page was there pulling it, getting several kills on the Volksgrenadiers. Landing some good strikes from America. Sneaking up behind here. And there's some time for tanks. We've got the spare Panther quarters up here for Jimmy. He'll probably have to get a Panther 4 sooner than Climax can get a Sherman. Unless something drastically changes in the fuel situation. Not impossible, obviously, but so far not looking highly likely. And there you're calling another artillery strike. This time they're from the media. A lot more cheap. This time there was the flat half track. Need to be careful. That house is not going to last forever against such wanton, vicious, and withering fire. Up north, they got the paratroopers with 5 kills now, but down to 4 men. Heading in with fuel there. That will actually cut off Jimmy there from his remaining fuel pump, which would allow. No, moves on. It's going to go for the light infantry gun. But there you go. Flag half track to the rescue. He's got himself up in such a chance if he doesn't retreat now. He's going to likely lose the units of the retreat. There we go. Heavy fire. Just successfully defended the fuel pump there. Good work by Jimmy. Getting ever closer to the possibility of a Panzer IV. Heading straight for the fuel pump. There's still no doctrine though for Jimmy. Still no doctrine for the Germans. That is a bit disconcerting. He's really just missing out on opportunities. Could have gone for paratroopers. You could have been using valiant assault, grenade assaults, maybe small something for the assault rifle. Like there's so much here that he could be doing, but ends up not doing because he doesn't have the doctrines for it. Comparatively, Spain, well, it's not using his doctrine massively, it's at least using it. Got airdrop combat groups and R5 pathfinders, and that's going to be a wipe there. That's unpleasant there for Climax and the second armoured. Definitely a tactical win there for Jimmy. Definitely a win. And Jimmy is very close to the Panzer IV. Those, well, Climax is not too far off from the Sherman either. But he took quite a hit there. He's down to 16 versus Jimmy's 36. So Jimmy's, I think, overall a lot more likely to get out of tank first unless he forgets to press the button in time. But there you go. He can call the Panzer IV in now. Climax is not too far from the Sherman. In fact, he can go for it now as well. So, ultimately it's going to come down to, well, basically who presses the button faster. And so far, neither Jimmy or Climax are displaying much alacrity there. Could of course be that Jimmy's playing for the Panther here. I mean, with the fuel lead he's got, that's not an entirely bad idea. But there you go. Climax out, and he does end up going for the Panther, in which case he actually lost, precious time to get out the Panzer IV, to be honest. That feels a bit wasteful there, to be honest. Paratroopers there, veterans who won. We got bombs called in here on machine gun position and nearby infantry. Ooh. Close one there. Close one, but not much effect there. Northern fuel pump secured here by Climax's Lieutenant Jones. Panzer IV halfway down to Sherman, almost close to done there. Enemy force going on. We got the anti-tank and also moving about, having done some damage there to Jimmy's flak half track. It would certainly be necessary as the Panzer IV. There we go, Sherman out. Panzer IV out. Both sides have their tanks rolling out. Fuel pump secured. We got the forces flanking for the south, but strength to the pair from the rifle, and that might not quite work out too well there for Jimmy. He should probably consider strong retreating here. We've got a grenade off here. Oh, that's a wipe. Got attacked there by Climax. Bit of a loss there by Jimmy. Partners 1-2. Gonna need some support here against the Panzer IV, but there you go. Anti-tank and shoot penetrates the front line. Raket rifle and MG-34 setting up here. Rifle being suppressed, bombarded. Sherman moving in here. Interesting enough, he's not recruited the mortar again so far. And we got here the flag half track good to go once more for Jimmy, who still refrains from choosing a doctrine. He is non-doctrinal still. Definitely, I think something he should be rectifying now. In fact, if not, several minutes ago. I mean, he's kind of hit the point where there's not really any benefit to not having a doctrine. But see, 2 Pathfinders there with 8 kills. Panzer's going to set to flank here, I think, get some kills on them. Pimp my machine would be a good choice. Notice it counters the paratroopers moving in there. Then from the Panzer IV in the south here, we got the flak after the Volksgrenadier support doing the Riflemen there. Good move. Sturmpionier pushing back here the paratroopers. So Yankee Fallschirmjäger. Got the northern field peninsula up. We got Volksgrenadier sitting out. Troops suppressed. By the MD-34, in fact, penned down. You could actually pop the incendiary armpits around for increased damage. That would be a bad choice. Jump setting out here, going to try and flank, engage the Volksgrenadiers. Academy over there, could risk getting spotted. There you go, Panzer fast off, direct hit here, calling in a strike again, or bombing run here with the cluster bombs, which were a direct copy of the German butterfly bombs, by the way. Panzer IV taking some damage here. Panzer drove straight into the cluster bombs. They're taking actually a bit of damage. It's more important to make an easy target for the M1 anti-tank gun. Back here, healing reinforcement going on there for Jimmy. We got a light infantry gun number 2, a lightest infantry shots, and we got an infant half track. No, an infant half track instead. Interesting choice there by Jimmy. Interesting choice. And that's going to be one awkward way of holding that light infantry gun for so long, particularly considering that one guy's not moving at all. Do we have to do it like this? Yeah. It's totally in the manual. Don't you think they're moving? What are you doing? No, this is completely frozen still. I'm sure of it. I believe the infantry half-tracks were primarily used by the Panzer Division Clausewitz and Müncheberg. Two sort of later war Panzer divisions would actually had a bunch of infantry equipment, including Panthers with infrared sights as well, and of course assault rifles with the same. Little fun fact there. They did not take part in the fighting around the Ardennes. They were rather later, more for the fighting inside of Germany's borders actually. Push in here, we got ramping suppressed by the MD-34. Supporting a Volksgrenadier squad. Very good move there by Jimmy. In the south, we got finding another fuel point here. They're leaving really a flak after the finding there. Going to tank, gets a good hit. Need to retreat before it takes too many hits. Infant half track here, setting up north side. And there you go, he lost the flak half track. Quite lost it for Jimmy. It's quite useful then, containing Climax's men. Quite useful. Still no doctrine and not really much else. I definitely think you should go for some orbital and consider Fallschirmjägers. Starting to seem a bit irresponsible here by Jimmy that he's just refusing to choose a doctrine. Troop being held up here. The Kednov trying to keep up with the Sherman, take it out, and we got the Panzer IV here taking hits from the anti-tank gun. Veterancy 2 doing quite a bit of damage. The Kednov lands a good hit. In this situation, the infantry half-track make it much easier for Jimmy to sort of suss out the routes of the tanks and sort of predict where they're going and thusly destroy them. But the lack of doctrine still has me concerned here. But you know, he's still doing damage. He's still keeping Climax somewhat contained. But Climax is in a much stronger position now than he was at the start of the game. There we go, replacing his rifleman losses. Noting the paratroopers have yet to be upgraded. He really should just try saving up a bit of munitions for the double up machine guns, as they really will do him a lot of good versus all of Jimmy's infantry. Particularly since Jimmy doesn't have any elite infantry himself. Lastly, a pair of paratrooper squad light machine guns could really do a ton of damage here to Jimmy. So I'm surprised that Climax isn't actually just trying to save up for it. Oh, 50 cover white alongside the mortar, which by the way has not been picked up. Good opportunity I think for Jimmy to give himself some extra firepower versus Climax, and they're going to tank it opening up. Penetrating on the Panzer full armor again. Jimmy Boy can go for another Panzer IV. Could be trying to take the Panther now or something. Mortar secured there by Jimmy. Shame on Climax for not recapturing that one sooner. But he's getting closer to the double Browning light machine guns to the paratrooper squad. Sturmpionier to help repair Panthers. He's lost his previous squad. That's actually a bit unpleasant there for Jimmy. Yeah, go quickly blitz up. The Panzer IV almost loses here to the M1 anti-tank, and its high rate of fire, particularly eventually feet, is astounding. Like, it probably has of all the non-doctoral anti-tank guns the highest rate of fire. Tossing this take aim ability, you can actually really do a lot of damage to medium tanks. That was actually kind of lucky there for Jimmy. It did not get destroyed. Climbers could consider going for another tank or maybe a tank destroyer. As for Jimmy, it's certainly less clear what he's playing for due to his lack of a doctrine. Fuel point secured. Panzer IV receiving vital repairs. We got the double line for guns they're bombarding, and we got the mortar as well. Giving Jimmy here a nice sort of larger scale mixed artillery battery here, which can put some serious pressure. And Climax was now going for the Jackson tank destroyer. But Jimmy remains reluctant to choose a doctrine. Looks like they got the Petrus, the Volksgrenadiers. No, he can actually upgrade them now. Can upgrade, but has yet to do so. Ah, pops a grenade. Plus something else, meaning he actually doesn't have the munitions now for it. In fact, his research grenades was Riflemen, which isn't a bad upgrade at all. I do in fact think the rifle upgrade they get, I think, overlooked at times. I mean, Riflemen grenades are pretty good in conjunction with Riflemen. They're secured, healing up. Tanks are almost done. I'm guessing Jimmy is aiming for a Panther, possibly a command Panther along with spare cops. But again, at the very least, going to orbital down with him for the assault rifles. Some grenade attacks going on here. Rather than just, basically doing nothing with his doctrines until he then at some point calls in a command Panther. It feels somewhat lazy and, to be honest, inefficient. And certainly not what I'd recommend any player to do, unless I really didn't like them. Got the M36 Jackson, they get to go. Fun fact, it was actually based on the exact same chassis as the Sherman, just with obviously a bigger open top turret with a bigger gun. This is Volksgrenadiers. Jamie remains doctrine. This reason they're holding the centre of the Volks is just too much of an obstacle, too much of a threat. Engagement up north here. Jackson hanging back. Not really achieving much so far here in the south. Machine gun versus machine gun. Rifle attacking force with lieutenant support here, but Black to try and pop a grenade, and there you go. Rolling up, then pushing back the machine gun here in the centre. We got pushed for the victory point here. Panzer IV roaming about, finding here in the west. Most of Climax's armoured vehicles doing nothing. Parachutes pulling through, but without sufficient support and without sufficient weight, they can't really pull through. Oh, and to tank lords in the bad spot, but Climax needs to be careful he doesn't extend it. And getting lost him and losing his veteran free anti-tank right now would be a critically big loss here to Jamie. We're getting a big amount. There you go, setting up, but it's low and helpful ready, but there you go, quick hit, armor piercing rounds. Machine guns are making short back. There you go, gun finished off, and nonetheless, the anti-tank and gets off another hit, taking the Panzer IV down to less than half health. Jackson the way, Sherman slowly rolling ahead as well. Second Panzer IV for Jimmy. Honestly, that's really late. He released a second Panzer IV like minutes ago, like 5 minutes. This is really inefficient by Jimmy. Really inefficient. Possibly, I think, a result here, the fact again he does not have a doctrine, which again means he's got no clear plan as to what the devil he wants to do. Infrared half track goes down in blazes. Scrum here, Steel Pond is losing out. Lakedin effort, light infantry gun being wiped out here. Could take out the second one here. Complete devastation here for Jimmy. He is getting pulverized by Climax's armored forces. Got the Panther wing with less than half health. It could suffer some nasty losses. Forces versus Lieutenant grenades going off here. Jackson's hanging back here. Panther fires doesn't do enough damage. There you go. Main gun out in the Panzer IV. This is really bad here for Jimmy. Really bad. This engagement I think would have gone a lot different had he just gone for a Panther IV. Soon even had a Panther. Just so he wasn't have more, had more than one bloody tank. And there you go. Sherman knocks out Jimmy's Panzer IV. And with this Climax, I think he's definitely gained the arm advantage here since Jimmy, well, he could theoretically replace the Panzer IV soon enough, but he's suffering so much manpower bleed at the moment. It becomes a lot trickier than you almost think. Jackson halfway fixed up. Troops reinforcing healing, sending out. Grabbing the eastern munitions here, or southern munitions, depending how you want to view the map. And to Technic crew, they're wiped out, still not replaced. But there you go, it's actually pushed the Jackson into action. Despite not being fully repaired, he rather figured he'd prioritise taking out the Panzer IV, just keeping it at a safe distance. More hanging about here. Panzer IV going for the Rifleman, spotted. Jackson opened up. Good hit, good hit. Forcing back here, Jimmy's Panzerkampfwagen 4. And like Kenman for crew, Panzer IV's going to be driving straight past it. Oh, it's so nice, you know, the Americans don't have these Raketenwerfers they can cloak. Yeah, it would be terrible if they ever got one. Yeah, we'd be in a lot of trouble. Oh, scheiße, they have it. They have it. Ach, mein Gott, you're doomed. Rifleman pushed back here from the south. Panzer IV barely makes it out of it alive. And another cluster bomb here, preventing him from moving ahead here. Basically using this time as just blocking. Sherman needs to be careful, but there you go, firing a high close round into the massive German infantry by the eastern victory point. Cluster bombs mostly damaging the ice. Panzer IV being rushed into action. How desperate is Jimmy? He was sending in a Panzer IV with barely any health left. He's desperate. He is very desperate. Percher was there. 3 men, less than half health. Trying to grab that western fuel point. And meanwhile we got the Jack moving ahead. He's going to try and rush into the base, take out the... I don't think he's going to go for it. He's going to rush Jamie's base to take out the Panzer IV. Noted about that Sherman just went along the road. So there you go. Jackson shoots, misses. Shot bounds, need to fall back with the Sherman. He's taking a lot of damage here from the Schwerpanzer quarters and all the other flak, to be honest. There you go, laying down a smoke screen on the Schwerpanzer quarters. Good work. You could have done that beforehand, though. Still, that's going to make Jimmy even more nervous here about doing anything inside of his base. Grenade up on the Volksgrenadiers, and oh, almost a full wipe there. And there you go. From almost into an actual full wipe there. Huge loss for Jimmy. Big win for Climax. But Jimmy has finally gone for doctoring his Luftwaffe. It's just way too late, I think. He could have benefited a lot more from this earlier on. Another Sherman on the way there for Climax. For the second armament as the 110th Panther Brigade struggles. Cluster bombs. Ah, folks, goes wiped. Another loss here for the German army. That was quite nasty. GG from Jimmy. GG, a loss here from the 110th Panther Brigade, a victory for Climax and the 2nd Armoured Division, breaking through the German lines. The other thing over the big issue with Jimmy was just the lack of a doctrine, and the fact he just several times just did the bout with his resource, didn't just push with tanks as fast as possible. Just the delay for the 2nd Panther IV, I think, was critical. Plus the lack of elite infantry, I think, further sort of was just, you know, something that really just didn't help him. He could have benefited a lot from Oberstdorf and some Fallschirmjägers here versus Climax, who I think had some struggles in the early games. He just kept attacking Jimmy to where strong around there looking for the easy targets, but as he sort of turned around there, he sort of got better and better, and overall punished him for his mistakes, and overall slowly but surely handled things a lot better than Jimmy. The early doctoral choice, I think, also benefited Climax nicely. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, want to subscribe, tell your friends, share it with everyone. If you like what I do consider donating or pledging on Patreon. Links in the video description. This is Imperial signing off, saying cheers and see you all tomorrow for another exciting episode. Bye.